Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. And I hope you're all having a wonderful month of September 2022 as we enter into the fall season and all the goodness that comes with it. And the title of the presentation that I wanted to do today for the month of September 2022 is the teachings of Kabir Das in comparison to Masonic teachings. There's too many people that do not know who Kabir really is, but he was a 15th century Indian mystic and saint whose writings not only influenced Hinduism, but Sikhism in their scriptures, the aspect of Sufism in Islam, the Bhakti movements in India, those that call themselves Sant, Mant, and Kabir was basically promoting unity and brotherhood, which inspired me from the Masonic perspective of how we all come together in unity regardless of race and religion. So I hope you're able to benefit from the teachings of Kabir Das, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. Before we get into the teachings of Kabir Das, let's try to get to know him a bit. So Kabir Das is basically a mystic and a philosopher and teacher and a religious figure that existed in the 14th, 15th century Indian period. And he not only influenced India's or the Hinduism's Bhakti movement, but even in the Sikh scriptures like the Guru Granth Sahib and the other Granth Sahibs and the other scriptures that they have were also influenced by Kabir Das, as he influenced Baba Guru Nanak, who is the founder of Sikhism, and other teachers and Bhakti movements and Sufism that were a part of his influence. A lot of his life is unclear. A lot of his life reminds me of Baba Muhyiddin, the Sufi saint, who was said to emerge from the jungles of Sri Lanka. So a lot about his life is unclear, his origins and his parents and where he really came from. But the scholars, they speculate that he was born in late 13th century in the Varanasi dynasty or the Said dynasty, and he died in the early 1500s. And his main job was basically to promote unity and mysticism, which basically from my Masonic perspective on what I see in the Masonic Brotherhood, I was able to find similar parallels. And he criticized organized religion and how everything, like some of the unethical practices that we see, especially in that subcontinent region, where you have these religions that are there, like Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, they're all telling you to love and respect one another and live in unity. But a lot of these people, they're still living with the tribal caste system mindset, and they look down upon each other and they hurt each other. So Kabir was pointing out the hypocrisy in that all of the faiths are teaching us, right, to love and respect each other. Hinduism is teaching the same, Islam, Sikhism, they're all teaching us the same exact thing. Then why this hate? Why is Hindu against Muslim? Why is Muslim against Sikh? Why is this person against that person? So in his life, of course, a person who walks that path, obviously he makes enemies. So he did make enemies in that region, but the funny thing is, when he died, of course, after these leaders die, everyone likes to claim them. So all of the people of that land, Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs, had all claimed inspiration and claimed him as one of their own, just like how many do with Guru Nanak from the Sikh perspective. And basically, Kabir basically taught that if you're on that path of righteousness, then no matter what your race or religion is, you're going to be all right. Just like how in Freemasonry we're taught to be believers and free thinkers, believe in a supreme being and continue on this path of self-improvement. From my perspective in Sufism, I see the teachings of the Holy Quran in Surah 2, verse 62, where it tells you that no matter what your race or background is, as long as you believe in God and do the right thing, it doesn't matter if you're a Jew, Christian, or Muslim. It's about being righteous and being detached from the ego and affairs of this world. Then you will be all right on the day of judgment. And his legacy is basically, you find in the Sant Mant sects of India, or the Bhaktis, or the Kabir Panths, the Path of Kabir, and these different communities that are still survived over there. So again, in his origins, a lot of people believe that there is unclear where he really came from and his birth and death and his parents. So, but they would say he was a light body or a light being that was born on the full moon day. And they would say that he was basically a body of light or a teacher of the light that came to teach us or guide humanity in a time where they needed it. So, but he was raised by a Muslim weaver called Nero and his wife Nima, who basically had raised Kabir. And that's the life that Kabir lived. And even early texts about his life show that influence of Sufism and Hinduism upon his life. So I was inspired to get the teachings of Kabir Das and give my own interpretation from my Sufi and Masonic perspective. So now that you've gotten to know a little bit about him, then we can get into his teachings. On the left-hand side would be a depiction of what Kabir would have looked like. And again, this reiterates the same message that Kabir Das was a 15th century Indian mystic, poet, and saint whose writings influenced Hinduism's Bhakti movement. And his verses are found in Sikhism scriptures, the Guru Granth Sahib. And his early life was in a Muslim family, but he was strongly influenced by his teacher, the Hindu Bhakti leader, Ramananda. And that's the beauty that I found from my Sufi and Masonic perspective, how you can learn and apply the teachings from different teachers and paths and incorporate it in the oneness. Now exploring the teachings and philosophy of Kabir Das, we look at this one. Many have died, you also will die. The drum of death is being beaten. The world has fallen in love with a dream, only sayings of the wise will remain. Now this is beautiful and has a lot of contemplation, because in the Masonic path we're taught the aspect of memento mori, always realizing the limitations of this life in terms that one day it will come to an end, and the symbolism of the hourglass to make the best use of the time that you've been given. And in the Sufi Islamic perspective, we have basically a verse in the Holy Quran that tells you that the life of this game is nothing but a game and a diversion, which many people have their own theories that we're living in a dream realm, we're living in a simulation, but at the end we're here for some kind of purpose, otherwise we would not be placed here, just like how all these great teachers have come before us. So what Kabir is telling you is make best use of the time that you've been given in this life to try to do good for self and others, just like how the Sufi and Masonic paths are teaching us to do the same. But at the same time, be mindful that you don't get too attached or too caught up in this illusionary life where people are running after degrees, titles, different accolades, trying to get ahead of one another, backstabbing each other in businesses for the purpose of money, accolades. And at the end, nothing is left. You don't take anything with you except the good you did for yourself and others. That is the ultimate reality, right? It's like in Freemasonry, even you have the aspects of Pike, who says that what you do for others will always remain immortal. And even in the aspect of this human life, what are we taught? Chasing after degrees, titles, high salaries, but at the end, many people are still feeling empty. When you look at these big cities and everyone's in a hustle and bustle, they're all in a rush to get nowhere at the end. So you have to make best use of the time that's been given to you. And you look at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, right? The tallest building in the world, and has the most expensive homes, condos, businesses, and attractions built but within that one structure alone that reaches all the way to the skies like a Tower of Babel. And look at the owner of it, the rich Sheikh. He's in the dirt, in the ground. He didn't take none of that with him, the riches, the accolades, except the good that you do for yourself and others. So that cannot be reiterated enough, and Kabir is teaching us the same thing here. In this teaching, Kabir is teaching us to be a giver, not a taker. Kabir teaches us that love does not grow on trees or bought in the market, but if one wants to be loved, one must first know how to give love. And that's exactly what it is. In terms of respect, love, other things, and you must be a giver and taker in both of those circumstances in order to find that balance. We have a world where there are so many misunderstandings in relationships with self, with each other, and we realize that you cannot clap with one hand. Both have to be able to work with each other, and you must be a giver in many occasions of your life, as even Freemasonry and the Bhakti path, Sikhism, Hinduism, Sufism, all of these paths are teaching you to be charitable, to be kind to thy neighbor and those around you, to thy brothers, to thy sisters, to the believers, and to promote love. Love is the only reality at the end. Pure and true love, without any hidden motive of any kind, right? That is when you have that true connection, where you have a world built on lust and built on what can I get out of this person or the other things like that, and then you discard them like a piece of trash once they serve their purpose. That's not how we should regard each other. That's not how we should think about each other or use or abuse each other. And that's why humanity is suffering right now with all of the craziness going on around the world, with the natural disasters, with the crime, inflation, war, diseases. There is a higher power which is not happy with us, because this beautiful world and its resources and how we've destroyed everything and used and abused each other, there are consequences to that. So Kabir is teaching us that you have to, in order to receive love in your life, you must be a giver of it as well. Don't be one of those types that sticks with their own people and deal with their own people. Give that love to all beings who come across your path without any hidden agenda, and true, genuine love, right? Not like where you greet them with a fake smile, but inside you hate them. Don't do that either, because even the divine will take note of that, right? So in the Sufi Masonic paths and all paths, it's all telling us the same thing. Be a giver, not a taker, especially of love. And of course, in Freemasonry, we have brotherly love. This is one of my favorite quotes and teachings from Kabir, where he tells that I am not a Hindu, nor am I a Muslim. I am this body, a play of 5 elements, a drama of the spirit, dancing with joy and sorrow. And this reminds me a lot of Manly Palmer Hall's teaching that he also had on Freemasonry, that the true Freemason bows before every altar, and how even in Freemasonry, all sacred books are regarded as the volumes of sacred law, as they all come from that one true creator, who all wanted us to be brothers and believers under one umbrella, a brotherhood. And that's what Kabir is teaching, that these labels that you get when you're born and you come out of your mother's womb, you're given a name, you're given an identity, a socioeconomic background, a religion, which was never truly chosen by you. And in the end, you grow up defending those things and thinking of and falling into these traps of divisions instead of coming together as one human family. And that's what Kabir is teaching you, to come together in unity and know that this basically we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, as he describes here, and we must be able to adapt and overcome the challenges of this life and come together in unity. Now, even in India, or the Indian subcontinent region where this teacher originates from, there are still to this day, in almost 2023, people who are fighting with each other over religion. And all of those religions that are in that area are all teaching you to love and respect one another. So it's not the religions that are the problem, it's human ignorance that is the problem, who fail to read their own teachings and apply their own teachings to self and others, and that's why the world is suffering. It is a drama, a spirit dancing with joy and sorrow. He's right. So what Kabir is teaching us are those Masonic principles of love, unity, and brotherhood. If they were truly applied, the world would truly be a much better place. And just like how the other paths are all teaching us the same exact thing, if it's honored correctly for self and others. And that's what we can take away from this. In this one, Kabir teaches us to circumscribe our desires and live our life within due bounds, as Masonry teaches us, and also the aspect of Sufi teachings, which tells us to be still and to keep silent. A learned man's knowledge will be no avail to him if he doesn't have control over his tongue. So this basically teaches us to only speak if it improves any given situation. If not, then silence is usually the best policy, as any unnecessary talk will usually hurt somebody in some way, shape, or form. So he's telling us to basically keep ourselves leveled, keep ourselves grounded, and keep ourselves in a point where we're handling everything in a good and concise manner in our mannerisms and the way we carry ourselves and how a good upright man should be, whether it's from the Sufi or Masonic perspective or from the teachings of Kabir, from the path that he's teaching us, that if your knowledge or your tongue is not benefiting anybody, if you're involved in any kind of slander or disrespect or he said, she said, gossiping, then you're not making good use of that blessing that the Creator has given you, the ability to speak and interact and express your emotions and concerns. You should only express that if it improves any person, place, or thing, or any given circumstance. So this is something that I believe was beneficial as well from his teaching, to circumscribe your desires and to live life within due bounds. This one teaches us the beauty of taking everything slowly and step by step. Go slow, my mind. Everything happens at its own pace. The gardener may water with 100 pots, but the fruit will only appear in its season. As we see, the sun and the moon also shine in their own respective times. And whether you're on a Sufi or Masonic path or any other initiatic path, it's telling you to take it slowly, because in these paths you'll have a lifetime of learning and epiphanies and things that you need to do, people that you're meant to see, places that you're meant to go. It all culminates like a beautiful painting on the canvas being painted on for you by the divinity. So you must be able to take all of that into a concise manner and know that it's all there to teach you and guide you and hone you. And you must take it slowly. It's like those that join Masonry. As soon as they're raised or become a Master Mason, they want to join all of the appendant bodies, but little do they know there was a whole lifetime of learning in their craft Masonry or their Blue Lodge alone. And same thing with the other paths. Everyone wants to have high ranks and accomplishments right away, but you must be able to savor each moment. You have to take things slow and steady, and that way you'll be able to savor each taste of each path and of each accomplishment and epiphany that comes your way. So this is basically telling you, do not be in a rush in your life. Do not be in a rush. Otherwise, if the train goes too fast, you will derail and you get burned out and go away. So take the time to handle everything in a balanced, concise, and clear manner in all teachings of your life, so it's there to teach you and hone you and guide you, and you take something away from it. And that's what makes you a better upright human being and a better man. This is teaching us the immortality of the soul that we find in both Sufi and Masonic teachings. The world will die, but I shall not die. If God dies, then I will die. If he should not die, then why should I die? So it's telling us that we're all part of this one cosmic being that's experiencing itself through itself. In the Sufi path, they tell us about Wadat al-Wajud, and they tell us that all beings in existence, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the earth, all of the beings in the earth, all of the seen and unseen species and realms, it's all part of that one true infinite being, the Creator or the Grand Architect, whether you might refer to it as Allah or anything else that has no beginning and has no end, no origin and no end. It just is, right? It just exists. It's there, the light of the heavens and the earth. And that's what it's saying, that you have the immortality of the soul, meaning that in this physical life that you're in, once you come and leave from here, that doesn't mean that that's your end. You continue to exist in some way, shape, or form. Same thing Freemasonry teaches us, the immortality of the soul, that you go to the Grand Lodge above. So there is that continuation that we're here in this spiritual school, and then once we graduate from this school, then we move on to higher realms and higher realms and higher realms, depending on the actions we take in this life. So it's telling us to keep the faith, knowing that this is not your only story. You are a soul that's full of many, many stories and accomplishment and memories and love and teachings. So you must be able to take that into account, that you're part of that one being, which is infinite, that has no beginning and has no end, and tells you how really powerful you really are. This teaches you the beauty of know thyself, which not only Sufi and Masonic, but all paths are telling you to know thyself. O human being, search your own heart every day, and do not wander around in confusion. This world is just a magic show. No one will be holding your hand. And what he means by no one holding your hand is that this is your road and you must walk it alone. It's like in Freemasonry, you're told about all the good fellows before you. You must walk this road alone, just like how they did, and come to your own conclusion and own realizations in your own life and your own personal journey. And everything that you're looking for is within you. You're first made a Mason where? In your heart. And you have these different paths that are all telling you kingdom of heaven is within, in the book of Luke in the Holy Bible, right? You have the Egyptian Book of the Dead telling you the same thing. In the Holy Quran, it tells you Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. Our Moorish brothers, Noble Drew Ali, says that you want to find Allah in your heart. So at the end, you always have to have it within you. There is no initiatic path that's going to give you any super knowledge or superpowers if you don't already possess that within you. It's either you already have it or you don't. So you must tap that within your own self. The whole journey is basically you're just working your way inside in this universe that we're in this sometimes inverted reality where if you're told to go outside, it's usually the other way around. And God is that perfect treasure who's trying to understand itself through itself. And it's within each and every one of us. And we're always looking for the truth and epiphanies over there, over here, in the sky, over here. But we don't realize that it was within our own selves the whole time. And we don't look for it in the place we least expect. So it's telling you to keep faith. How we're always taught in the Masonic path to trust God and do not fear anything, and always keep walking your path without any fear whatsoever. Know thyself, as it says not only in the house of the Oracle from the Matrix, but also in the house of the Temple in Washington D.C., which is regarded as basically a great teaching of historical preference of Freemasonry. So all of these paths and situations and circumstances, it's all telling you, relax, take it easy, know thyself, trust the teachings of your heart, your intuition, and know that you're never late for anything, and everything that you're meant to do all work out accordingly. And Kabir is reiterating that same message for us. This is one of my favorite ones as well, where Kabir says, I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty. I laugh when I hear that people go on a pilgrimage to find God. Again, he's reiterating that you're looking over here, you're looking over there. It's all within you, my brothers and sisters. Listen to that voice within your heart. Listen to that voice that does not speak, what even Rumi says. You're looking for all of your answers in life. You go through your life confused and dazed. You try to find your answers, but if you come to that realization that what you're looking for is within your own heart, and you take a moment to listen to that voice that's guiding you and helping you and giving you that intuition, you shall never fail in your life. And Kabir is teaching us the same here. Be quiet in your mind, quiet in your senses, and also quiet in your body. Then when all these are quiet, don't do anything. In that state, truth will reveal itself to you. And that comes again to the initiatic journey, that don't do too much, don't be in a rush, handle everything in a balance. It's like when you go to the gym and there's 3 to 4 days, right? Monday through Thursday, you could say that you go to the gym. The other days, you gotta let your muscles rest, and what you have worked for, you must let that just let it envelop in your being. Because if you're adding too much, then eventually you walk away with nothing. But if you handle things in a fine balance, then all that you're taking in, give it time to rest, give it time to grow, give it time to contemplate, and that will give you an epiphany of what you're looking for. And this is true in a world. I go outside and I see humanity in a miserable condition, people being nasty to each other, and all this stuff going on, people cutting each other off in the cars. I mean, everyone's in a rush to get to nowhere. Like, for what? Why all this fast lifestyle and this anxiety and all this nastiness that we're seeing in humanity right now? For what reason? Right? Just like how in the Sufi path it tells you to be still. In the Holy Bible, in the book of Psalms, it tells you, be still and know I am God. Kabir is teaching you the same thing. The Masonic path is telling you to divide your time and use your time wisely and have time for rest and refreshment as well in the first teachings that you get. So you got to handle things with a balance for you to get the most out of any path. The final teaching from Kabir that I would like to talk about is, the sun is within me and so is the moon. And again, you got to realize you were created in God's image and likeness, like how all of these holy books are telling you. Know thyself, know thy Lord, know thy Lord, know thyself. And even in the Quranic teachings, in the Sufi Islamic teachings, you are, after God, you are the highest representative of divinity on this earth. Think about that responsibility that's been given to you. The power, the responsibility. It's so great. But what are we doing? We're hurting each other. We're destroying the planet, the resources, the species. Why? For what reason? Let us come together in unity, in brotherhood, as not only Kabir is teaching us, but the Sufi path, Masonic path, the Sant Mant paths, the Sikhism, Hinduism. Let us all become brothers and sisters of that true oneness, and as representatives of that oneness here on this earth. Please, this world is hurting right now. Make the best decisions with the time that have been given to you. And think about all these things that Kabir is trying to teach you. Thank you all, my friends, my brothers, my sister. I hope you all benefited from my Masonic education topic for the month of September 2022 on the teachings of Kabir in comparison to Freemasonry and other paths as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you benefited. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmansheikh911@gmail.com. All images used in this presentation were retrieved from public domain searches and are the rightful property of their respective owners. The images used in this video are for the purpose of non-profit awareness and education, which is protected by the copyright laws of fair use for the purpose of education. All my videos are for non-profit and education purposes. Thank you. All rights reserved.